Hello, everyone. 52 participants are here. It's very good to know. This is Seville. I'm your IELTS trainer tonight, and I would like to, let me open my chat box. I would like to know whether you can all hear me. Please do respond. Thank you. Amazing. Perfect. Okay. I had a small problem 5 minutes ago, and the British Council team, I've received your email, but I was, updating something on my Mac, and luckily it all worked out fine. And I'm here, and people can hear me. That's great. Now, I also need to organize some small notes. They're here. All right. Great. So, good evening, everyone. We have 6 more minutes to go. We'll start on time. And it's very good to know that you can hear me well and there are no technical problems. Remember, this is a general IELTS session. We will cover 4 tests. Hello, Lesia and Tatiana and everyone, Demetrio. And it's good to see so many people. And Bora, it's good to see a lot of people from different countries as well. And we're going to cover, I was saying, the 4 tests individually. And we also run webinars based on exclusively reading and writing, plus listening and speaking. So do not miss those webinars as well. We focus on the 2 tests in these ones. Right. So I'll be seeing you in 5 minutes. And Irina, hello. And Ina from Ukraine, and you can hear me. Wonderful. So guys, I'll be seeing you in 5 minutes. So, hello from Turkey. Hello, Gözde. And Maria, Elena, everyone. I think it's time. So, British Council has answered one of the questions. The future webinars will be announced on our website, and please do follow and sign up if you're interested. Right. And Sabit from Azerbaijan. Ladies and gentlemen, hello to you all in short. I think it's time, and let's be very punctual. Let's not waste our time. So, a few minutes ago, as I was doing the sound check, I introduced myself, but I see the participant number increased to 85 right now. So, let me introduce myself again. This is Civil, and I'm your IELTS trainer today, and I'm in Berlin right now. So, greetings to you all from Berlin. And in today's session, we're going to cover very useful information and top tips about the IELTS exam. And remember, we'll be covering the 4 tests individually. However, before I start talking about the 4 tests, I've got some slides regarding regarding how the exam is run and some small tips about the exam itself. I do have a set presentation. Please follow it. If you have questions, which is perfectly fine, that's why I'm here, and I don't want this session to finish before all the questions are answered, please save it till the end, all right? It will be, I think it's a very good idea because I don't want to waste time as you come up with a question. My presentation may cover the question, so be patient, wait till the end, and fire your questions away at the very end of the webinar. I hope that's okay with you guys. And let's get started then. First slide, please. I don't have the control over the slide, so I'm going to ask help from my colleagues at the British Council Serbia office. Right, so here's the first one. Well, a very brief slide there. IELTS is, of course, the international English language testing system, and it's jointly owned by the British Council and 2 other institutions. As you see, right now, what is IELTS? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to start with some very brief information about the IELTS test here. As you may already know, IELTS is an internationally recognized and respected test. It tests your ability to communicate in English language. It's either for work or for study reasons. It's designed to assess your 4 abilities, which are obviously listening, reading, writing, and speaking. IELTS results range from band scores of 9 to 0. And please don't forget, IELTS is an international testing system. All accents are welcome. There are no cultural or linguistic bias. Right. And why choose IELTS? Now, I've got 4 items right there on the slide. I would like to extend them a little bit though. More than 2 million candidates take IELTS every year, and currently it is the most popular English test. It's recognized by over 9,000 organizations around the world. Actually, I updated it to 10,000, which is important. And the accessibility of the test is one of the advantages for our candidates, since the test is available to, up to 3 or 4 times a month in many locations. And there are 2 versions of the test, which are the academic module and the general training module. And don't worry, I'm going to cover both modules today. However, I would like to know one thing. Can we have a poll question here, my dear colleagues from the British Council? Oh, perfect. So I would like to know, or shall we go after this? Actually, wait. Perfect. Okay, I'm going to ask it right at the end of the slide. Okay, I just wanted to know, but it was a bit too early. I accept. All right, now, guys. Which IELTS test is best for you? Now, let's talk about this. Before deciding which module you'll take, I'm trying to read the messages at the same time. So sometimes, you know, I may pause a little bit, and even my concentration shifts to the chat box. Sorry about that. What is the difference? Don't worry. I'm going to explain everything, guys. By the way, I don't see the name, but the name appears as Galaxy A5. Please leave the questions till the end. Oh, which is the difference? Okay, we're not going to talk about the other tests on this presentation. We are focused on IELTS. And as I said, as we go along, just wait and see what my presentation covers. And let's talk about let's answer your questions at the very end of the presentation, please. I hope that's okay for you guys. So, what was I saying? Before deciding which module you'll take, I think it is a good idea to check with the receiving organization first. Always double check with the receiving organization. However, I can easily say that to further your studies at postgraduate or undergraduate level, you need to take the academic module. And to further your studies at secondary level and to live in an English speaking country, you need to take the general training module. All right? And now there's a poll question, guys, coming. Just to get to know you better. And I'm going to ask you, are you planning to take IELTS academic or IELTS general training? If you do not know yet, no worries, just don't vote. I want to see your expectations, your preferences, so I can spend a little more time or, just to get to know you better. Let's put it that way. So it says hosts and panelists can't vote. Okay, I know. Okay, I don't see any results yet. That's why I was a bit concerned. All right, now I can see. Perfect, thank you guys. So 60% of you guys planning to take the academic module, 30%. Okay, perfect. So the majority is taking the academic module tonight though. Thank you very much for your votes. And the next slide, please. Now, what's the next slide? Oh, right, the test format. Okay, guys. Now, here, as you see on the slide, there are 4 tests: listening, reading, writing, and speaking. And the exam will be in this order. Listening first, reading, writing, speaking, most probably at the end of the test. It may be scheduled on another day as well. But the writing part of the test will always be in this order: listening, reading, writing. Now, the listening test, as you see, are in the same color in the academic module as well as the general training module. So is the speaking test. So, because the listening test is the same, regardless of whether you're taking the academic or the general training module. The speaking test is also in the very same format. However, that does not mean that every single question will be the same. The reading and writing tests on each module are slightly different, and don't worry, we will talk about the differences later in the presentation. And timing, of course. Let's not forget to mention the timing of the test. IELTS test takes 2 hours, 44 minutes plus 10 minutes transfer time, which will be given to you at the end of the listening module. That's all about it. And now another very brief slide there. As we have already covered, IELTS results range from band scores of 90-0. The IELTS 9-band system is used to measure and report scores in a consistent manner. I also want to say examiners are trained in line with globally accepted standards to ensure consistency and, of course, equality of their assessments. We won't focus too much on the band scores today. Actually, that's something I don't want to go into in the in the webinars. But if you'd like to get further information, you can find the public versions of the BEN descriptors on takeielts.britishcouncil.org. So please have a look at that, and you need to search as public versions of the BEN descriptors. Okay? They're all on our website. And I think there's another poll question here. If we could, British Council, I'm going to ask about your expectation. What is your target score in IELTS? Let's see. And now I have just received your answers. So the majority, 58%, 6, and wow. So 58 plus 33, wow. 91% of you are planning to take 6 and above. Perfect. So, and 33%, I'm sorry, 33% are targeting for 8 to 9. Wow, lots of high achievers on tonight's show. Great. Thank you very much for your answers. And let's move on. Okay, now the report forms. Right. Okay, let's see. Now, after you take your IELTS, everyone, you will be sent one personal copy of the test report form and maximum 5 digital copies of the test report form may be sent to the organizations you're planning to apply. You just need to let us know. If you would like to get more than 5, that's also perfectly fine. There might be some extra charges though. And I think I covered everything up to 5. Perfect. Okay, now the 4 modules. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're about to start. However, before we start, I would like to say a few things. If you would like to get a good score in IELTS, I think as a teacher and as a very friendly teacher, I think you really need to understand the format of the 4 tests. In other words, what is expected of you. You also need to understand the grading criteria. I mean, how you will be assessed. And if you know these, again, as a super friendly teacher, I think your job will be much easier. And that's why we run these webinars. We want to explain you the exam. And we're running these webinars. I think my feeling in these webinars are this is just a very friendly environment, and you can ask your questions directly to me and my colleagues at the British Council. So I'm very happy to be running these webinars. All right. Now, before we start, there is another poll question on your way. I would like to know what I think I cannot see the question yet, but yes, which test you find most difficult in the IELTS. If you have no idea, don't worry. Okay. And I'm surfing back through the messages, by the way, as you're doing that. And I think I'll get the results. Yes, writing. Oh, God, it's not a surprise. Writing is tonight's winner. Okay, 38 people on tonight's show think writing is the hardest. So 38 of you. And then the second is, listening. Interesting. Okay, so you guys said writing is the most difficult, listening is the second, and speaking is third, and reading is the fourth. Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. And let's start now. I'm going to start with the speaking, guys. Now, let's go. Next slide, please. Right, thank you very much. The overview of the speaking module. Now, for each test, guys, I will start with an overview. I'm going to list facts and figures, basically, and then I'll delve into details. All right, now, the speaking test. Ladies and gentlemen, the speaking test takes 11 to 14 minutes, and I believe the face-to-face nature of the IELTS speaking test is definitely an advantage for our candidates because it's, I think, as close to a real life situation as a test can possibly get. Remember, your speaking will be recorded throughout the test. Now, this may not be super comfortable, I know, but this is not only to assess your speaking skills, but also to make sure you get the fairest assessment of your speaking ability. So, this is for your safety, basically. You will be assessed on fluency and accuracy, vocabulary, grammar, and pronunciation. And as the slide says, the very last item, 4 marks averaged. Basically, you'll get a grade for each criteria, fluency and accuracy, vocabulary, a grade for this, grammar, you'll be assessed on this, pronunciation, and then we will average 4 marks to give you your final score. Is that okay? Oh, Norman, I got you. Okay. So you thought reading is the most difficult, but reading is also. Okay, got you, got you. Next slide, please. Okay, now the speaking test format. Here we're delving into the details now. The IELTS speaking test, guys, is divided into 3 sections. You might already know. Part 1, I would refer to as introduction and general questions. Part 2, I will refer to as a long turn or cue card. And the last one, I would say analytical discussion or just discussion. I would definitely say analytical discussion because I'll explain why. Now, in part 1, questions are quite general. There is nothing to be afraid of. And I think you should be able to find something to say, even though you're not particularly interested in the topic. As a tip, I would say, I think you should be prepared to talk about your family, your house, hobbies, holidays, personal stuff like that. And please, please give extended answers rather than yes, no, maybe, rather than one word or short answers. Remember, the examiner needs data. The examiner needs to hear you to grade you. And in part 2, you will be given a task card, which you cannot change, I'm afraid. You have to stick to what's given to you. Then you will have 1 minute to think or prepare, and you can even take notes if you like. In many cases, there's a question. I'll definitely keep it for later. I was going to say, you may also take notes if you like. And in most cases, I suggest you take notes, but it has to be done in 1 minute. Remember, it cannot be long notes. And then you'll be given 1 to 2 minutes to talk about the task you're given. And now about the note taking. I run IELTS trainings at numerous schools, universities, and I do give teacher trainings as well. I love teacher trainings because, we're colleagues, we speak the same language, and it's a lot of fun. Sometimes I give them a mock IELTS exam, and in part 2, because they're all fluent and they're if they're not native speakers, still they're extremely fluent and they speak English very well. But the challenge here is to speak about something for 1 to 2 minutes on your own might be a challenging thing. And especially when you're a young person, I think. I mean, you have the exam stress and this is not your native language. So I do understand you. I know how you feel. So this is what I think. Most teachers start speaking about the topic, and then 1 minute later, they say, so Seville, is my time up yet? Or, so how many more minutes, how many more seconds do I have? And I say, look, it's you have not completed your 2 minutes yet, and you're worried about time. And when I say that they have more time, they take a deep breath and they say, oh, okay. And they are very likely to repeat the things they had just said. So this might happen in the actual exam too. But when you take notes, I mean, imagine you make a mini list, but made up of words. I think these notes will guide you, and it will help you avoid repetition, I think. Okay. By the way, Johan, you will be sent the recording of this webinar tomorrow. So don't worry, just focus on the presentation, darling, and you will get it tomorrow. So you can watch it as many times as you like, or just go through the presentation without hearing my voice. All right. And part 3, guys, you will be discussing more abstract aspects of the topic from part 2 with the examiner. So it means your part 2 and part 3 questions might be linked. However, in part 3, this is in the form of a discussion. All right. Next slide, please. Now, I've got some notes here. I was going through. I don't want to miss anything. That's why. Okay, sample IELTS questions. Right, guys. So this is a real speaking part 1 question. The examiner asks the candidate about him, herself, his or her home, work or studies, and other familiar topics. So this is the introduction and then example. This is the real question. How often do you watch television? Which television channel do you usually watch? Why? Do you enjoy advertisements on television? And do you think most programs on television are good? Why not? Now, guys, I selected this question on purpose because me personally, I don't have a TV in my home, and I haven't lived in a home with a TV for the last, I'm 36. When I started university, I was 18. So for the last 18 years, I haven't had a TV. However, I can still answer this question. I don't need to be watching TV to answer this question. How often do you watch television? Well, I never watch TV because we don't have a TV at home. And to be honest, I haven't owned a TV in the last 18 years or so. And I can continue. Which television channel do you usually watch? Since I don't have a TV, I don't watch anything, but I'm a big fan of Netflix. And when I was a kid, I used to watch, I'm making this up, by the way, this is not true, but I and you also, you can use your imagination in the speaking test, remember? Use your imagination. I'm selecting my words correctly. So I might say, well, I used to be a big fan of documentaries, and I was watching a lot of documentaries on BBC when I was a kid. There you are. So, and as you see the question, I think you might agree with me. This question does not require many strategies or preparation or prior knowledge. Do you agree with me, guys? Please respond. Oh, thank you, Gazda. So a plus from Marilla. Thank you very much. And Vita, Alexandra, and Emil. Thank you. And Elena, another plus from her, and Nargis, and Bora. And wow, Olena as well. Irina, thank you. Okay, guys. Now let's move on to the next slide to see another sample question. Thank you very much, Einar, and Florida, and Dinara, and Daria too. And so, guys, part 2. Now let's have a look. Describe a friend of your family you remember from your childhood. You should say who the person was, how your family knew this person, how often this person visited your family, explain why you remember this person. Okay, now you have 1 minute to think of an answer, to think of a person, to be precise, in this, as asked in this question. So you need to think of a person, and then elaborate your answer. And remember, you need to speak up to 2 minutes. So decorate, embellish your answer. As I said earlier, use your imagination a little bit, because remember, the examiner wants to hear your English, and you will be graded on your English only. So come up with a good answer. If I haven't got anyone appropriate, yes, exactly, Colonel. That's what I'm saying. You should think of a person. It cannot be, okay, I'm imagining, now this is an extreme thing to say, but imagine no one ever visited your childhood home. Your parents had no friends whatsoever, okay? I'm imagining the worst case, the weirdest case scenario. So think of one of your favorite persons, a teacher, a friend of yours, not your family, or a singer, and imagine that this person was your family friend. Okay? And imagine this person visited your home when you were a kid. So take it from there. Is that clear? Yeah, okay. And then part 3, everyone. What do you think makes someone a good friend to a whole family? Look, related. Do you think we meet different kinds of a friend at different stages of our lives? In what ways are these type of friend different? And the last one, how easy is it to make friends with people from a different age group? So remember, no prior information. You don't need to have first-hand experience. But what we expect you to do is to be able to form some sort of conversation, dialogue. That's all. All right, let's move on, please. Now, do's and don'ts. Guys, you have the list there. Look at the slide. I'm going to talk about a few more things, okay? Now, I would like to read something. I prepared my notes. I would like to read something from the speaking band descriptor to read band 7 for fluency and coherence. Now, guys, IELTS band descriptor says to reach band 7, reminding you. It says, the candidate speaks at length without noticeable effort or loss of coherence. May demonstrate language-related hesitation at times or some repetition and or self-correction. See? It means it's okay to make mistakes and it's okay to correct yourself. Please relax. When I'm running student seminars, they say, what if I make 1 grammar mistake? What if I make 2 grammar mistakes? And I just say, relax. People make mistakes while speaking in their native language. This is perfectly normal. It's perfectly acceptable. All you need to do is to relax and focus on your communication. Speak clearly and elaborate your answers. In other words, give extended answers. Avoid one-word or short answers. These are very important. 1 single grammar mistakes, okay. 2 small grammar mistakes may have no influence on your final grade. Now, I'm thinking right now, what if I make a mistake right now as I'm speaking to you? What would I do? I would either correct it and go on, or forget about it, make another sentence to clarify what I'm saying, and move on. So that's what you should do, really. Nobody is perfect, absolutely. And everyone makes mistakes. That's perfectly fine. And guys, what about don'ts? Don'ts. Okay, what does the list say? So speak fast, slowly. All right, now, speaking from experience, please do not try to memorize large portions of speech to repeat during the test. This undoubtedly adds unnecessary stress and sounds super unnatural as well. We do not recommend this approach. And do not try to speak faster in order to sound more fluent. It doesn't work either. It will just result in blocking your communication with your examiner. So just be yourself, speak at a natural speed, make sure the examiner understands you, and that is all. And don't forget, English is the only language you need to communicate in throughout the IELTS test. And that's all really. Let's move on, please. All right. So how can candidates improve their speaking? Now, I added these frequently asked questions because, well, they are frequently asked. Okay. So how can you improve your speaking? Let me think. Guys, as a teacher, I think listening to a wide range of authentic English materials will help you a great deal. First, like listening to a wide range of materials will help you become familiar with more words, phrases, as well as pronunciation features. Excuse me. Sorry about that. It's a bit chilly in Berlin and I was out all day. So that's where this. Thank you very much. Oh, God. Thanks, guys. In German, they say Gesundheit. All right. So listening to a wide range of authentic materials will, I said, help you to become familiar with. Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you. Dankeschön. With more words, phrases, and pronunciation features. I think when you're learning a language, like any language, these are quite important, aren't they? To know more words and phrases which are in everyday use and how they are pronounced. This is a big deal. And listening to BBC radio, I would say, lectures, podcasts is always a good idea. And I would say you should start working on subjects that interest you. And then maybe you can move on with the others. Another thing I always recommend my students is that recording yourself. I think you should record yourself and listen to it later. I think that's a good idea. And, while you're speaking, while you're recording yourself, try to try to practice what you learned from the listenings. And while you're listening to yourself, pay attention to your fluency, maybe your pauses, your hesitations, and the choice of words. British or American pronunciation, it does not matter, darling. As long as it's standard English, as long as it's okay, as long as the examiner understands you, you are fine. You don't need to you don't need to adopt British accent, no American really. Just be yourself as long as your English sounds good. I mean, clear, I should have said clear. All right. And I'm just taking one small note about this. I'm just correcting one little thing. So I won't need to take this. Okay, great. And question number 2, guys. Let me go back. Oops, yes. Does the candidate's accent affect the score? Now, that is the answer to that question. No. As long as you speak at a natural speed, as long as your examiner understands you, you will be fine, I guarantee. Once I read, if you start using in a test, you must carry on with it. Yeah. I mean, you could go, well, yeah, I mean, don't go all the time. But if you say, well, let me think of it, just try to gain time. If you want to think about it. But, let me see, there was another question. Well, guys, if there is any stuttering, you should let the British Council know in advance. Okay? You got 8.5 from speaking. Congratulations, Zainer. All right. Okay. And no, American accent either. No, guys. You can speak in your own accent. Everyone has a different accent. So using idioms are very useful, how I know. Yeah, I mean, sure. Phrases, like everyday phrases. Oh, about vocabulary. Again, Lena, right? I see it correctly, right? Yeah, Lena. Exactly. It could be, you could use, I mean, you can say truck instead of lorry. No one would say anything. That's perfectly fine. All right. And can candidates ask clarification questions during the IELTS speaking test? Yes. But there is always a but. Guys, you're allowed to ask one question per section. So let me clear that up for you. In part 1, part 2, and part 3, in each section, if you do not understand the question, the examiner is allowed to clarify the question once only, and it will not affect your score. Good news. Right, let's move on. Okay, any notes on the listening? No, I don't have any notes here. Okay, let's move on, please. Hello, Albania. Now, again, I'm starting with the facts and figures. The listening test is designed, wait a second, yeah. The listening test is designed to assess your ability to understand, well, spoken English, of course. And the test always includes 40 questions, spread over always 4 sections in half an hour, plus 10 minutes transfer time at the end of the test. So 40 questions, 4 sections, 30 minutes plus 10 minutes transfer time at the end of the speaking test. Speaking at the end of the listening test. And bad news, you will hear each recording once only. Clear? I hope it is. Let's move on. And now I gave you some bad news. As I said, each recording will be placed once only. Now some good news. Guys, the answers will appear in order. It means you don't need to go back and forth to find the correct answers to the questions. So that's some good news after the bad ones. And remember, as the second item on the list says, variety of task types are used. Now, what does that mean? There are many different task types, question types. So I think you should familiarize yourself with different task types. You know, there will be, I'm also reading the questions right now, but okay. You know, there will be some multiple choice questions, ABC, ABCD, but there will be gap filling, matching, and many other task types as well. So you should familiarize yourself before you actually take the test. To be honest, IELTS listening test is pretty fair because you are given time to read the questions ahead of the recordings. And it is vital to use this time efficiently. So first you are given time and you read the questions, then the recording comes, and you need to answer the questions as the recording flows. And remember, the questions are in order. And then after the recording finishes, you will again be given some extra time to check your answers before you move on to the next section. Isn't that fair? And the same thing will happen in all 4 sections. And at the very end of the test, you will be given 10 minutes to transfer your answers from the question booklet to the answer sheet. Now, I'll come back to these questions. Wow, 25% of questions were true, false, not given. Oh, Ay, ay, ay. Let me see. Yarkabulan Ashiro. I hope I pronounced your name not too badly. Wow, that's some luck, huh? All right. So, guys, I talked about the extra time, question paper. I'm just going through. Yes, it's all done. Let's move on to the next slide, please. Okay, now some tips. Listening tips to remember. We got 1, 2, okay. So 6 items there. Let me think. Underline keywords and questions, spelling capital. Yes, okay. I need to cover them all now. Now, ladies and gentlemen, first, look for keywords. Underline or circle them when you first look at the questions. Remember, you are given time ahead of the recordings, so you need to be thinking of the important parts of the questions, and you can either underline or circle them. You are free to do so. And make sure you understand what type of answers are needed. When you're given time to read the questions ahead of the recordings, you should try to predict as much as you can. I mean, is that blank, that question part, is it a number, a day, a name, or an adjective? Or adjective or a surname. If it's a surname, it's probably spelling. You know, the more you predict, the better. And please beware of distractors. Just because you hear something for the first time, it doesn't mean that it is the correct answer. And oops, sorry, I closed my screen. What happened? It's me. All right, I've got it back. Let me see our difficulties. I've already taken FCU. I just Googled it. Okay, all right. So, let me see. Spelling and capitalization. Okay, let me think about this. Now, ladies and gentlemen, in the listening part, if you misspell a word or if you miscapitalize it, you will lose the whole question. So, some more bad news, I suppose. Even if it's just one letter is wrong, you again lose the question. Now here I'm expecting the British way of spelling or American way of spelling question. It does not matter. As long as it's standard English, either American or British, we will accept it in the listening section. All right? Now, Marilla, yes, you can. If you would like to use all capital letters in the listening section, we can all accept it. Oh, yes, definitely. And then, guys, let's see. Let's go to the following part, the frequently asked question part. I think it will answer this question, how to prepare listening the best. Let me think about that. So, how can you improve your listening skills? Well, guys, at this time and age, I think it's pretty easy. The internet is full of stuff. I think the key here is listening to a wide range of authentic resources. I mean, not only TV series, okay, but also some variety I want, like podcasts, educational videos, lectures, documentaries. The more variety, the better, of course. And also, you should aim for different materials with different accents. Well, there is no substitute for good practice. I mean, whatever you listen to, it is practice. But to make it a good sort of practice, you should diversify your options. I mean, if you by the way, I've just remembered, if you have a smartphone or a tablet, you may download many free British Council applications. I was using audio and video in my lessons. I mean, the name of the application is Audio and Video. So you might definitely download those and many others. Number 2, how will candidates hear the recordings? All the recordings will be heard at the same time, not individually. And the last one, well, I've already said, but anyway, are spelling and capitalization important in the listening test? Yes, it is. Spelling and capitalization matter greatly. Can we round up the answers with pencil later with a pen? You are not using a pen. You are using a pencil only in the listening and reading parts of the test. As you are writing on the answer sheet, pencil only, pencil only. And next slide, please. Guys, give me, I need to mute myself for 1 second only. And I'm back. Okay. Let's see. Let's move on, please. Right. And again, facts and figures. All right, guys. Now, the reading test includes 40 questions spread over 3 articles, and you've got 1 hour to answer these 40 questions. Now, remember, unlike the listening, please remember this, unlike the listening test, you will not be given extra time to transfer your answers. So you have to transfer your answers as you answer the questions. Very, very important. And again, as I said just 2 minutes ago, your answers must be written in pencil only. This applies to the listening test too, remember? Very important, no pen. And. No, well, not at all, actually. If you really want to use, if you really insist on using a pen in the writing section, you may do so, darling, but not in the listening and reading part. All right? Okay, cool. Got that. And I think that's all. This slide was a very brief one. And now, guys, again, there's a list of things there. Have a look. And I would like to talk about a few things. IELTS reading texts. Okay, I know some of you might think reading is challenging. And as a teacher, I'm surrounded by students every single day of my life, and I know the challenge. But this challenge will get better if you read more academic texts. I'm going to take one thing as an example. This is from IELTS past papers. It's a real IELTS test, and it's a real IELTS exam question, I mean. The name of the text is Chronicle of Timekeeping. And I love this text dearly. It's one of my favorite texts. The text talks about how people measured time throughout history, how the way they measured time changed after the invention of artificial light and after the advent of the mechanical clock and so on. Now, I'm sure many of you tonight, will be interested in reading a text like this in their native language. I'm sure how people measured their time, how people organized their life according to time throughout history. Now, this was an original IELTS text. So what I'm thinking is, if you read newspaper articles, if you read cool magazine articles, for example, National Geographic, and you know what I'm talking when I say cool magazines, I think you kind of know what I'm talking about. So if you read stuff like this, the reading test will definitely get better. And the rest, I'm looking at the slide now. Okay, I can repeat again, I don't mind. You have 1 hour to answer 40 questions on 3 texts. Now, let's do the maths, super easy, 20 minutes per text. Now, you have to organize your time very well. Do not forget to mark your answers on your answer sheet as you proceed through the test, because there is no extra time. Remember, so take that into consideration. Well, no, just go on The Guardian. No, it's not. Go on New York Times. Well, New York Times limits you to 5 articles a week, but come on. Like, Monday to Friday, 1 article each day, that will do you good. And theguardian.co.uk, it's totally free. Now, guys, wait, I'm just going to link you a few. So have a look at this. That's totally free. And wait, I'm going to Coursera.org. I'm going to fire you some really cool. So here you can actually have lessons from very cool universities. And what else? Let me see. I'm finding. And what else? Like, I'm copying pasting from my from my history. And what else? Definitely this. Oh, this is just amazing. And what about the kids version? Okay, it's kids version, but still kids. Will it appear? It appeared in my history. Yes, even games. There you are, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. And then let's move on, please. Okay. Now, guys, let's get through the reading tips. Before you take the test, I believe you need to familiarize yourself. Again, just like the listening test, you need to familiarize yourself with different task types. You should also practice reading skills. And when I'm saying reading skills, I'm talking about 2 in particular, skimming and scanning. Since you've got only 20 minutes per text, you do not have time to read the text intensively, thoroughly. So skimming and scanning skills will help you get through the test. Please think about these. And now let me define you these skills first. Now, skimming means looking over an article or paragraph to identify the key themes or general ideas. This includes paying attention to title, subtitles if there are any, keywords, and topic sentences. And one of my advices is to read the title first, then subtitles if there are any, and then the first and last sentence of each paragraph. Make sure you do this and you try this at home. Make notes around the article as you do this. I mean, underline keyword sentences and then make arrows, try to put your attention on. So I have tried this many times. Many times to, oh, wait, have you sent us the links? I can't see them. Oh, I think I've sent them to Yerkabulan only. Oh, God, I've just realized I always make this mistake. And one of my colleagues has just warned me about this. he said, please, when you're sending a message, make sure you know who you're sending it to. And I think I made a mistake again. Oh, wait, no. Is that from me to? Oh, yes, yes, yes. Okay, now, dear Yarkabulan, could you forward these links to everyone, please? Thank you for bringing that up. Thank you. Oh, God. Oh, God. No, thank you. All right, okay. What was I saying? Oh, yes, yes, very important. Guys, I have tried this many, many times in my classes now. I timed myself and my students as we read the title and the first and the last sentence of each paragraph and continue like this till the end of the text. It takes us usually 2 minutes to, if it's me, it takes me 2 minutes to read the title and first, last sentence of each paragraph. My students, it takes my students to 3.5 minutes, 3.5 minutes to do this. So at the end of the day, you will lose 3 minutes average doing this. But you will get the gist of the text and then look at the questions. But this time, read the questions with specific purpose, word by word, and then start scanning. All right. You see, yeah, exactly. So this is quite important, skimming and scanning. And oh, I may not have mentioned, I mean, I might have forgotten, in the IELTS exam, guys, there are no penalties. In many exams around the world, 3 incorrect answers take one correct answer, or 4 incorrect answers take away 1 correct answer, and so on. In the IELTS exam, there is no such thing. So an incorrect answer and a blank answer are technically the same. So I suggest, thank you very much, Yerkabulan. So I suggest you attempt all the questions. Don't leave any blank answers, please. All right. Thank you very much. And let's move on, please. All right. How can candidates improve their reading skills? Now, guys, I wish I had a magic wand to enlighten your way, but I don't. There is no magic at all. However, I do know how you can improve your reading skills. You may not like the answer, by the way, but I got to say it. Read as much as you can, especially read newspapers, magazines, journals. The more variety, the better, obviously. I personally advise my students to read 2 articles on environmental issues, 2 articles on technology, and 2 articles of their own choice every week. If you read, around 7 articles every week, you will see how much you improve in such short time. And what I do in class is students read super interesting magazine articles, and then in class we talk about these articles with the words, with the recently learned words. And through these classes, I've come across amazing articles. For example, in France, I think it was by 2014, supermarkets are not allowed to waste food if the expiry date is coming. Then they've got to donate these foods, and I think it's an amazing thing. I think I'm just gonna send you the link. Wait, France supermarket food waste. Yeah, it's on Guardian again. It's not 2014, by the way. It's 2016. My mistake. So wait, to everyone. Coming just up, sent. Can everyone see it, guys? Did I manage to send it to everyone? Oh, good, Ina. Thank you. And there was an please read this article. I think it's cool. And there is another controversial article. Now, recently, I've read the news in the German newspaper. In Europe, they've recently banned plastic cutlery. Plastic cutlery ban Europe. Let me see. Europe proposes, yes. This one. Well, this is a bit old from the Independent, but I cannot send you the German article, obviously. Oh, so what? Colored pens are colored. You cannot use colored pens, so people cannot see it again. What am I doing wrong? Seriously, this is so annoying. Open chat. Okay. Now, guys, okay. Your silly trainer has solved the problem. Oh my God. Sometimes I'm embarrassed of myself. I make such silly mistakes while I'm using technology. Seriously. Okay, now everyone can see it. Yeah, it was definitely my mistake. Yep. Now it works. Of course it does. When I do it correctly, it works. It's not a big surprise. All right. Now close this. And. So read a lot of articles as to the answer of the first one. And can candidates use colored pens or pencils? No colored pens or pencils. And then how can candidates skim and scan efficiently? Remember, I think I explained quite well, but remember, you need to skim the article quickly to get a sense for what the subject of the article is. Then I suggest you look at the, first, while you're skimming the article, I think you should pay attention to the title, headings or diagrams if there are any. Then read the first and the last sentence of each paragraph to determine the theme. Then you're looking at the questions with specific purpose, reading them word by word, and then trying to find the correct answers to the questions. And remember, you may not see the same words in the text and in the questions. You might see synonyms. Say if the word perk is in the text, P-E-R-K, perk, maybe they will use the word advantage in the question. And since I talked about advantage now, I think of drawback and disadvantage. If you see the word drawback in the question, maybe the word disadvantage is used in the text and so on. So do not expect to see the same words. All right. And next slide, please. Let me see. Oh, writing, of course. Okay. Yes, they are. Absolutely, Elena. Yeah. They are authentic texts. So the challenge here is actually these texts are not designed for English students. I mean, they're not designed for English learners. They are designed for native speakers. They are academic texts. Now, I would say the Cambridge series is amazing, so have a look. But I don't want to be advising, recommending, in other words, advertising something. You go online and first, I suggest you go on the British Council's website, take IELTS.org, and there are lots of materials there. Check these out first and then see what's available on the market. Because as a teacher, I do use a great variety of things because I have great access to these books. But you guys need to be very specific. So maybe you can just go online, see some sample pages and see how it works. But the Cambridge series, yeah, definitely. I mean, you should go through the sample tests. Right. Now, the writing part, guys, the writing test. All right, again, facts and figures first. The writing test is divided into two parts, and you're expected to answer both of these questions in 1 hour. So it's not selective. Both questions must be answered. Task 1 differs depending on the module you're taking. Since there are a lot of people planning to take the academic module, let me start with the academic module version of task 1. Right. You need to analyze a diagram, guys. So simple as it is. I mean, I know it sounds simple, but you need to analyze a diagram. Applicants should identify 2 to 3 main significant points in each diagram. I'm saying in each diagram because there might be more than one diagram in some cases. If it's one, it's one. And you need to describe what you see. You may need to make comparison between data too, if there's more than one piece of data. You need to be using, of course, relevant vocabulary and a variety of vocabulary as well. In the general training module, however, there is a letter writing of at least 150 words. By the way, the same word count applies to the academic module too. So let me put it this way. In writing task 1, in both academic and general writing, you need to hit a word count of 150 words, right? And we recommend you use 20 minutes of your time to complete task 1. And for the general training test takers, the letter you need to write will be defined. I mean, whether it's a formal, whether it's an informal, friendly letter, and what you need to cover in this letter, you will all be given this information. Don't you worry. And now, let me see. Well, Asel. Sorry, I don't have my contacts today, so the chats, I just bring my computer very close to myself. Then I can't, I forgot to look at the slides, so I'm a bit of a mess today. Sorry. Now, Asel, darling, you don't need to go and explain every single change or every single part of it, but at least 4 to 5 points, I would say, like 3 minimum. But, more than 3, let's say, more than 3 significant points. And then look at your word count. If you are around 150, then you're fine. But if you need to write more, then you need to consider more details. I mean, to add more details into your writing, basically. Now, that's a very tricky question, Lena. 140. Now, if the word count is not met, the examiners will look at the content. If the content is quite strong, it may not affect too much. But if the content is weak, and plus word count is not met, very tricky. So I suggest you not take a risk in the exam. Hit the 150 word limit. So let me take a deep breath. You understand what I mean? Let me see. Why would you write it? I mean, no, sometimes people are stuck with words. I understand Lena perfectly, but I just don't want her to take a risk. All right. Because they always say, how many points will I lose if I write 145? I don't know. This is just an imaginary essay we're talking about here. So I have no idea. That's why I'm speaking a bit vaguely, because it really depends on the essay. So I cannot give you any specific. Yes, we count every single word, darling. A, N, the, one, two, and, or. They are all words. Absolutely. Do we need to look up a dictionary for just to know or read an article? Well, it depends. If your English is, I would say, intermediate, around intermediate, I think for a little bit you should just. I know you will not like this, but you should try to improve your vocabulary at the same time. So I think you should. When you come to a stage where you can understand the general idea of the text, then you should stop. So focus on other skills. So it depends on your English, really. And there are some words which, okay, I'll come back to those later. And, oh, well, yes, the next slide is already there. I'm just too focused on the chat box, so I didn't see the slide again. Now, ladies and gentlemen, how do we assess your writing? You see the four criteria on the slide, and I'm going to talk about one criterion specifically. Now, task achievement, task response, cohesion and coherence, vocabulary, and grammar range and accuracy. So again, we assess your essay depending on these four criteria, and we will average your grade again to give you your final grade. Now, I think 1, 3, and 4 are pretty straightforward. I'm going to talk about number 2, the second item, cohesion and coherence. Now, what does that mean? This criterion means that your essay is logically organized and has a clear structure with an introduction, at least 2 body paragraphs, and a conclusion. This is the boring part, I know. But for task 2, this is an essay writing, so it has to be in this order. And your essay should be divided into paragraphs, with each paragraph having a clear central idea. Body paragraph 1 and body paragraph 2 should be talking about different aspects of the issue. If they are both agree, disagree, it doesn't matter. They should be talking about different aspects of the question. So the very common mistake I see, there's the first body paragraph, okay, there is an idea being introduced and there's an example, and then body paragraph 2 is more or less the same, written with different words. This is not what we want. We want 2 different things, 2 separate, independent, different paragraphs. Okay. Linking words, definitely, they're very good to use because it makes your writing more, clearer, and it organizes it in a way. So definitely, yeah. Let's move on, please. Now, some tips. Let me scan the slide. Right, I'll write legibly, please. Guys, if we cannot read your handwriting, we cannot grade it. So it must be written as legibly as possible. Now, I will sound a bit sexist. I hate to say this, but boys, please pay attention. And right after that, cross out or erase clearly. If you don't want to spend time on erasing what you have written, don't worry. Cross it out neatly and then keep on writing. That's perfectly fine. And look at my last note. Word count is important. Guys, for task 1, 150 words. For task 1, 250 words. Please hit the word count. And now, I think the biggest challenge here is I'm taking an exam. How can I count the words? I'm stressed. I do understand you. Now, wait, I'm going to send you something. It's coming on your way. Now, you can find it as well. Guys, on this link, you will find the PDF version of the IELTS writing paper. You cannot see it. Guys, I'm sure someone can see it. No link. Oh my God. Which link? You ask which link? Oh my God. Nope. No one can see it. Seriously. How not? Unbelievable. Now I'm sending it. Okay. Oh, thank you. I'm sending it to all panelists. Unbelievable. And attendees as well. Okay. Right. Let's see. Guys, again, not wearing my glasses is a big problem. And I do apologize. Can you see it now? Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, God. So, guys, here on these links, oh, finally, you could, I think somebody who joined later can't see this info. Oh, sorry, I just moved back. Oh, you are very welcome. Running a webinar half blind. So sorry, guys. Okay, so the reason why I sent you these docs is that please print these answer sheets and practice at home. I mean, how many lines in your own handwriting makes 150 words? So in the actual exam, don't count the words, count the lines, okay? It will save you time, and I think it's quite practical. What do you think of that? Does the number of words written per line matter? No, of course not. No, it depends on you how many words you write in each line. Now, Lena, there is no maximum words, unfortunately. I mean, we don't set a standard to maximum words, but here your time is limited. And the more you write doesn't necessarily mean the better you write. The high, it does not guarantee you higher grades. I mean, we believe that the task one question can be fully explained around 160, I would say 170 words max. And task two, I think you should not exceed 300, 290 even, because the exam, I mean, the more you write, the more likely that you repeat yourself. Do you know what I mean? So I think you should, work on your content rather than the number of words. So, Alexandra, that's what I was saying. I'm saying that in task one, you should not exceed 190, 185-ish. It's hard to say. I mean, I'm just advising you that you should teach yourself not to write more than 185 for task one. And let's say 290 for task two. Do not exceed these numbers. Or the minimums, we already talked about the minimums, 150 for task one, 250 for task two, right? So about the maximums, the British Council does not set a limit. So this is what Civil thinks. As an IELTS examiner, I think these tasks can be achieved within this limit. My limit is 150 to 190 task one, 250 to 290 for task two. I think that gives you a good space. You will be able to you will be sent today's seminar, Estella. So now, writing legibly, word count, cross out, all covered, I think, this slide. Let's move on. Okay, now I think it's good to talk about a sample question. Now, guys, a real IELTS task 2 question. Let's have a look. You should spend about 40 minutes on this task. Write about the following topic. Countries are becoming more and more similar because people are able to buy the same products anywhere in the world. Do you think this is a positive or a negative development? Give reasons for your answer and include any relevant examples from your own knowledge or experience. Write at least 250 words. There you are. Boom. Real task 2 question. Remember, for this question, you need to write an essay, a standard format essay, an introduction, 2 body paragraphs, and a conclusion. And for this, I would say, again, I mean, you don't need to have personal first-hand experience. You can always include things that you have read, you have heard. Refer to those if you like, but remember, things you have read in order to, be able to score a good score. Guys, you should be reading a lot. For example, to answer this question, I've recently read an article and I think it could be a good answer to this. I mean, a good example. I can include this article. I think it was in Barcelona. I read it on The Guardian. Remember, I've shared a link on The Guardian, and it was about the local people in Barcelona. They protested against the high number of tourists in their city, and they had this "tourists are terrorists." What's that? It was kind of like a protest. So tourists are terrorists. So what they want is they don't want their country to be full of international brands, full of big chains, full of tourists. So they were protesting against this. And I think just because I read this article, it gives me an edge. It gives me an idea. So if all the countries are exactly the same, cultures are lost. You can definitely use this in one paragraph, and then you can think of another paragraph as well. Oh, definitely go to Barcelona, amazing city. Idioms, yeah. I mean, idioms, everyday words, and collocations, Murat. You know what collocation means? Like group of words that we use in our everyday language. And I think, wait. I have collocations, Oxford, or was it Cambridge? I know it was Cambridge. Collocation dictionary. Oh, yes, absolutely. Now I'm going to send you a link. And guys, as we're approaching the end of the webinar, I managed to send everyone a link. How about that? Aren't you proud of me? Received. Oh, God. What a big achievement. Ay, ay, ay. Sometimes I'm embarrassed of myself. So, guys, here you can have very good collocations, like words that go together. And I think it's very, very good to know this. And there is also a book, collocation. And look, this is also a free collocation dictionary and levels upper intermediate to advanced. I mean, have a look at this. It's a free resource. I think it's cool. Huh. And there is also a book. I'm sure you can find this book online, and I'm going to send you this. Have a look at that. Yeah, I mean, this can give you an idea. Yeah, I think, yeah, perfect. All right. And I'm going back to the slides. Let's move on, please. Okay, so how can candidates improve their writing skills? Now, ladies and gentlemen, there are many model answers in Road to IELTS, in official IELTS materials by the British Council. Please see and analyze those. See model answers, analyze them. Now, let me echo. It is understood as if you use it. Well, additionally, they're the same thing. It depends on you. You can use both. If you are trying to increase the number of words in a silly way, we will understand it. But in addition, and it's just one word. No, I think it's cool. No, Asel, relax. It's all right. It's all right. Recent research shows. That's perfect. Yeah. According to some scientists, maybe. Yeah. Estella, the webinar will be sent to you online. The link. All right, guys, and then describe a successful task one. As I think we talked about all this, but I want to underline a few things. So for the academic test takers, task one, write what you see in the chart. Remember, you cannot copy words from the exam question or from the titles of illustrations. This will result in lower marks. Very important. So you should be able to paraphrase them, paraphrase the question, then analyze. Look for most significant features and write an overview first. Remember to separate your paragraphs. Show a range of vocabulary instead of repeating the same thing over and over again. If you use the word increase once, then you should think of another word. Or if you use the word decrease, try to use another word instead of it. And declined, for example, went down, decreased, and so on. Think how many points should be taken to pass? What books for AC? Thank you. Oh, I just went through the messages. Okay, so. And then in task one also, right, okay, I need to think clearly. In task one, guys, very important, you don't need a conclusion. It's not an opinion essay, so don't try to come up with a conclusion. There is nothing to conclude. And for the general training test takers, you just need to follow the question. Remember the things that you need to take into account. Make sure you refer to these in your letter and hit the word count. That's perfect. Successful task 2 essay, separate it into 4 paragraphs minimum. An introduction, 2 body paragraphs, and a conclusion. Remember, in your introduction part, you need to state where you stand. You need to give your opinion. Then support your opinion in the 2 body paragraphs and conclude. Does spelling count in the IELTS writing test? Of course. It could either be an informal or a formal letter. It will be given in the question itself. It will say, write an informal letter, write a formal letter. So I cannot tell you what will come in your exam right now. And Estella, how many points should be taken depends on where you're applying, really. Different universities have different criteria. So check with the receiving organization, please. Okay? And spelling, of course, counts in the IELTS writing test as well. Let's move on. Oh, test days, do's and don'ts. Let's see. All right. Imagine it's finally the day of your IELTS test. First, good luck. And, well, you see the list Of course, you should arrive in good time. You can only take pen, pencil, eraser, and your ID with you guys. So your super smartphones and super smart gadgets aren't coming into the exam room with you. Remember. And. To immigrate to Canada, then check it on their website. Well, to be honest, I think for the Canadian immigration, the higher you score, the better. I think they take your IELTS score into consideration. I mean, they assess your score. The higher, the better. If you take a better score, then they prioritize your application, I suppose. And then follow the instructions, of course, right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth. Yeah, the fifth one. Follow the instructions very carefully. Remember, IELTS is not only a test of English, but we test your understanding of English instructions as well. Yeah, I don't need to remind you not to cheat. Yeah, I think I'm done on this slide as well. In order to score 6.5 and above, I think you should be around upper intermediate. Wow, there you are. Yeah, Kabulan, you're amazing. You're my assistant today. Seriously, thank you. Alexandra, for the, well, the thing is, I come from British education system and I just don't have the habit of memorizing. So wait, European, I have this IELTS grades to convert it into A1, A2, B1, B2 thing. I don't understand these things, but now I'm going to send you this link. Please have a look. It's like a conversion table. So it says B1 is 4 to 5. B2 is 5.5 to 6.5. And then, yeah, I think it shows you, right? Sure, darling, no problems. And, IELTS preparation materials, my favorite part. Guys, I think I've already advised you some applications. Remember, I said audio and video, and one, learn English. And so these are general English applications. When you go to your application store, regardless of what phone you're using, any application store, just write British Council and you will see lots of free apps. Download them and see which works better. But here I wrote IELTS Word Power right there. 3 mobile applications, IELTS Word Power. This is exclusively dedicated to IELTS. I think it's very cool. You should definitely benefit from it. And then we have the www.britishcouncil.org/take IELTS. Please visit and see what's good there for you. And learnenglish.britishcouncil.org, maybe for lower levels, but still there might be some good stuff for you. Please check it out. And now the most important thing, Road to IELTS, our e-learning tool. Many of my students did not know until I taught them about this. So guys, when you register for your exam through the British Council, you will have free 30 hours worth preparation material. I use them myself. I check them out. I think there is some, useful stuff there. So this is very important that I want you to know about this. You can also benefit from this as well. All right. Let me go through. I mentioned mobile application first, then the websites, then Road to IELTS. I don't know what level you should start, really. There was a question, but I don't know your level. I don't know your target, so nothing to say there. Right, next slide, please. Next slide, please. The thank you slide. Okay, now, so thank you slide, stay there for a bit. Now, guys, I'm going to stay here a little bit more to see your questions. If I have not answered your questions till now, it is the time. Let's see. Now, Demetrio, these are very specific questions. They are very good questions, darling. I cannot deny. But in the general webinars, we don't have time for this. So I'm going to, very sadly, I'm going to ignore a few of these questions, but I'm reading. Let me see what I can do. Yeah. Now, Emil, these words are accepted as long as they're spelled correctly. For example, nouvelle, I always use this word in my everyday language, and when I write like the French version. As long as you spell them correctly, of course, you're free to use them. This is how we use them in English. Yeah, absolutely. Elena, thank you very much. And Emil, thank you very much. There will be no certificates, guys, for attending the webinar. And yeah, thank you for your very beautiful, kind words, Yels. Well, now you're Kabulon, since you're my assistant, I cannot ignore your question. Okay. Now, I suggest if you guys are if you guys think that the question is a hard one and you cannot come up with two very separate ideas agreeing something, I think you can pretend to disagree a little bit, so you can write one positive, one negative paragraph in order to make sure you are not writing the same thing into paragraphs. Remember what I said? Your two paragraphs should be talking about two independent ideas. So if you trust yourself, if you say, no, I will 100% agree with this statement, and I can come up with two very different aspects of the issue, go for it. If you say, whoops, this is a bit of a challenging question, let me not take a risk. Let me just write one positive, one negative paragraph, then go for it. Oh, I'm glad you find the webinar useful, guys. Guys, writing in capital letters is not okay in writing. Darren, wait. Writing in capital letters is only okay in listening. That's all. In listening only. If you're writing it, okay, messy is a bit of a vague word. How messy? I don't know. I would say if the examiner cannot read your handwriting, it will be impossible to assess it, to grade it. So think about that. Oh, of course, Yvonne. You don't need to write a conclusion in task one, because if you're Giovanna, are you an academic test taker, darling? Could you please let me know? Well, do I know more apps? Yes, thousands, but I don't know your level, so it will be hard for me to advise. So the safest I can do is to advise British Council apps, because I know they are in your target zone. In reading, no capital letters. Guzda, yes, you can take the computer version of IELTS. Absolutely. I think you're from Turkey, so contact the Turkish team. They will guide you. What is diagram description? Oh, diagram means like a chart, a table, a visual image. So you need to be describing, talking, explaining about these. Is that what you're asking, Alexandra? Sorry, I might have got you wrong. Some scores could be sendable by scanning. Well, you could let us know, let the British Council know in advance, and we will send the score to applicate to the universities, to the institutions. As far as I know, this year I spent 2 months in Canada, and very prestigious, very reputable schools like McGill, University of Toronto, for example, they want the scores sent through the British Council only, for example. So you need to make sure, you need to double check with the institution Barcos. Okay. Victoria, my pleasure. Lena, my pleasure. Printed or in cursive, it doesn't matter as long as it is okay to read and to understand. Irina, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your time. It's been, wow, it's been, yeah, more than 1.5 hours. So I really enjoyed the show tonight. Um, Girls, the which link? I need to say goodbye, girls. Come on. Yes, I made a terrible mistake and did not send you, could not manage to send you. I don't remember. Oh, I can't remember either, darling. So, anyways, you can survive with that link too. All right. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's wrap up, shall we? Of course, Sergey, we have lots of webinars like this, and we will be targeting on reading and writing specifically, and then listening and speaking as well specifically. So check it out on our website. Okay, I need to say goodbye. Ladies and gentlemen, I do thank you for your time and for sharing these almost 1.5 hours. No, more than 1.5 hours with me. It was a pleasure. Have a very good evening and good luck in your exams. Bye-bye.